Okay, we'll get started here. So hello everyone. Welcome to today's interactive Wellness Wednesday seminar titled Ancient Wisdom from Tai Chi and Qigong Principles for the Health of Your Five Bodies. I'm Deanna, the program assistant for the BC Brain Wellness Program, and I'll be your MC for today. Of course, before we dive in, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that the BC Brain Wellness Program at the Javad Mofajian Center for Brain Health, it resides on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam people. As a settler here myself, it's crucial to recognize the profound relationships we have with the Indigenous peoples on their Musqueam lands and to continuously honor and nurture these connections. It is a privilege to be able to offer our program on Musqueam land. And as we join from various locations today, I urge each and every one of us to reflect on the history of the land we inhabit. You can explore more about the land's history through the resource provided in the chat, which will show in which region, which indigenous groups are present there. And so let's dive into also introducing our wonderful guest, Sandra Tjoa. Sandra is dedicated to working with people who had prolonged stress, intense emotional states, and chronic pain. Her holistic approach has helped get rid of headaches and migraines, relieve chronic back pain and joint pain, and lift unhealed trauma, truly helping people feel less anxious and depressed and have more energy to focus on family, friends, and things they love, free from physical and emotional pain. Her personal journey of healing from grief, depression, and developmental trauma informs her deep commitment to her practice. She offers deeper healing intensives through small group and private programs using the principles of Qigong and Tai Chi to master Qi, our life force energy. Sandra's holistic approach transpires from the combination of her Bachelor of Science in Human Biology and Human Kinetics, her medical career as registered respiratory therapist, and extensive training with masters worldwide. For today, Sandra's workshop will be focused on experiencing gentle healing movements and breath from Tai Chi and Qigong principles to locate and move stuck energy and gain tools from these practices that help you feel the difference. You will discover how stuck energy impacts our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, and learn how releasing it can boost your mood, motivation, and inspiration. Reminder that everyone's body and background are unique, so we do encourage you to exercise discretion with any information provided and adopt practices that align with you and how you're feeling. I would also like to take a moment to thank all of our donors for supporting the Brain Wellness Program. Because of your generosity, we can provide these accessible educational events and our program with our classes. As an entirely donor-funded program, we rely on your generosity to ensure the continuation and development of our program. So thank you so much for your ongoing support. Now, a couple housekeeping notes before we begin. If you have any questions for our presenters today, please feel free to type them in our chat box right on the side there in Zoom, and we'll address them towards the end of the session as there will be a Q&A. If you prefer to ask your questions privately, you can send them directly to me, Deanna, in the chat to keep things running smoothly. Only the presenters and myself will be unmuted for today's session. If the Q&A session runs over, please feel free to stick around or log off as you see fit. And just a friendly reminder, this session is being recorded, and you will be able to access the recording on our website at bcbrainwellness.ca in approximately 2 weeks' time. If you would like to share with your friends and family, that's a great resource. So without further ado, I will pass on the Zoom mic to Sandra. The floor is all yours, Sandra. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Deanna, for such a thorough introduction. I'm used to doing that part of it myself, so it was kind of nice to hand that over today. So just a brief hello to all of you. I don't imagine that anyone here has met me beforehand. So hi, I'm Sandra. And as Deanna outlined, today we're going to move through some very basic introductory Qigong movements and breaths that are also used in the principles of Tai Chi, because Qigong itself is about they can trace it back to about 5,000 years old, and Tai Chi is much newer at about 800 years old. So Tai Chi is actually based on Qigong principles. It's a martial, moving, meditative application of Qigong principles. So in case you were wondering how the two come in together, that's how their origin can be explained or touched on. So today, just a little bit about how the workshop is going to go. For the first bit, we are going to move through a couple of things. One exercise, we're going to locate an area of stuck energy in the body. We're going to use this very small area at the top of the forehead or the upper part of the face. And then we're going to move through some breaths, a little bit of gentle movement, and then we're going to revisit that area wherever you find your stuck energy spot, and we're going to see if we notice a difference. While we come into the movement, I would really like to stress, and Deanna did mention it, we're always moving through what's comfortable for your body. All right. So that may mean at some points, and I say this over and over again, so don't worry, I'll be reminding you, always be sure that you're moving through a range that is comfortable for you. So sometimes that may mean that you're doing the movements either a little bit slower or a little bit smaller. Everyone is welcome to do everything that we move through, either from sitting or from standing. If you want to sit the entire time, that's perfectly fine. If at any point you feel that you need to lay down or you just want to sit quietly, breathe with us and watch, that is also very effective. Just imagine that you're moving with us. The brain and the body have a biofeedback loop. And so learning just from watching and pretending that you're breathing and moving with us is going to give you some benefit. So don't feel that you need to keep up. Really gauge, feel into your body, what's comfortable for you, and whatever you can manage, just trust that that is perfectly fine, right? Always, always. Okay, and then after we do the movement, we're going to do a little bit of a talk. I'm going to explain how energy affects the health of our body and how in different ways. And then we're going to move, we're going to have plenty of time for a question and answer period, at which time I'll hand over to Deanna, back to Deanna. All right, so we're going to, from seated, everyone's remaining seated at this point. We're going to place our feet flat on the floor if you're able to. And just imagine this shoulder width or the hip width between those two sets of joints, and place your feet that hip width or that shoulder width apart. And if you can, comfortably from wherever you're sitting, the feet are flat on the floor. And what we're doing here is we're reacquainting ourselves with that ground, just remembering that it's there. So just let all the parts at the bottoms of the feet connect to the ground, and just registering in your mind all those connection points. And then while we're seated, we're also feeling into the bum bones that are resting into the seat or the chair, stool, whatever you're sitting on. Because when we touch anything, it becomes an extension of us. And so whatever we're touching can also aid us in our grounding. So whether you're sitting in a chair, lying on the bed, lying on a floor, you can feel into all the points of your body that touch the ground, and those points will help you ground. So if you're seated, you're feeling into the bum bones. If you're lying down, you're feeling into any part of you that is connected to the floor. And with that, we're going to extend nice and tall through the spine as you seat. So feeling into the ground at the bottoms of your feet, feeling into those bum bones in the seat of your chair. And we're going to take a few nice breaths in through the nose. And then we're going to let the jaw and the mouth relax open and just let the exhalation flow out of the body. So breathing in through the nose, the jaw and the mouth relax open, and let your breath flow out of the body. We'll do that a couple of more times, breathing in through the nose, letting the breath flow out of the mouth. And once more. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands and place our thumbs right about at temple, eye level, and maybe just above. And with this part of your forefinger, we're going to curl the finger. And with the part of the finger between the two knuckles, we're just going to take that part of our hand and allow them to put a little bit of pressure tracing down along the forehead, closer to the hairline. And what we're feeling for is a sensitive, tender spot. So you want to let that part of your finger come down on the forehead, maybe towards the eyebrows. And I'd like you to feel for a spot. We want a bit of an owie. We actually do want to find a tender spot. You feel a little bit of that ouch factor. And if you find a spot, I'd like you to remain there, maybe put a bit of pressure, not too much, but we want to locate an area that if you were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, we're looking for somewhere that has a sensitivity or tenderness of 6 or higher, if you can. Just feeling through this area, put a little bit of pressure if you don't quite find one. Some of you may find that with only a little bit of pressure that it's no problem in locating one. Okay, so I'm just going to look at people who are on video. If you have found that tender spot, if you could just raise your hands, give me a show that you've located something. Good, great. Okay, so for those of you that may not have found a spot that rates 6 or higher, we're going to bring that same idea to the eyebrows. So right on the ridge of the eyebrow, applying pressure with that part of your finger and running it along, feel for a spot that's 6 or higher. Once you've found it, you're going to pause there a little bit, put a little bit more pressure just so you can remember where that is. Okay. Right. Now, if you didn't happen to find a spot that you would rate 6 or higher, then either in the forehead or the eyebrows, we can go with a 4, we can go with a 5. It's just that the more that you feel it, the more that a difference you may experience. Okay, so if you didn't find something that was 6 or higher, just go with a 4 or a 5. See if you can find that spot. And what I'd like you to do is make sure you remember that spot. All right. If you have a pen or paper handy close by, you don't have to do this. Maybe write down that number, that scale on a 1 to 10. If not, just hang on to that number in your head. Great. Okay, so now we're going to move into the part of the workshop which you can either do from sitting or standing. If you'd like to sit through this, just stay right where you are. I'm actually going to do this from standing. And those of you who would like to join me are welcome to. All right. So I'm going to give you a bit more of my arms. So whether you're joining me from sitting or standing, again, we're drawing those imaginary lines from our shoulders right down to the ground. And we have that hip width or that shoulder width between our feet. And whether you're sitting or standing, again, we're going to feel into the bottoms of our feet, feeling into all the parts of our feet that are making contact with the ground. Here, we're just reacquainting ourselves with that ground, just remembering that it's there. Now, for those of us that are standing, what I'd like us to do is bring our attention to the knees. And I'd like you to check whether or not your knees are locked. So some of you may find that you are indeed locking at the knees. And if you find that you are, just allowing the knees to ease their way slightly forward so that you can bring them to a nice unlocked position for your knees to rest. Now, I'd like to caution that we're not bending too low, because then you're going to feel tension build up in your thigh muscles. If you feel the thigh muscles working a little bit, we want to draw a little bit back. We want the knees to rest in a place somewhere between a full lock and a bend without being in either place. And with that, feeling the ground beneath our feet, softness in the knees if you are standing, extending nice and tall through the spine. So if you're doing this from sitting, you're also feeling into those bum bones that are resting into the seat of your chair. And as you imagine that nice tallness through the spine, we're going to move 3 of those breaths. Nice, easy breath in through the nose. The jaw and the mouth relax open. Allow those exhalations to flow with ease out of the body. 2 more times. Breath in. And as you allow those exhalations to flow out of the body, imagine that they carry with them whatever stresses, tensions, or holdings the body is able to let go of at this time. Just feel all of that melt away with each breath. And with the sense of the ground beneath our feet, we're actually going to bring in a little bit of bouncing and shaking. So if you're seated, just shaking through the arms, the wrists, and the fingertips, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. So pretending that the ground is like a trampoline. If you're doing this from standing, you're relaxing into the ground and pushing the ground to come up with each bounce, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. If the arms are like cooked spaghetti, relaxing and shaking through the wrists, through the fingertips, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to slow it down. The bouncing and the shaking is going to get smaller and smaller still until you come back to the stillness of your sitting or your standing. And we're just going to let the breath settle here, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, feeling the energy of what your body was just moving through, not analyzing what your body is feeling, but just allow the body to feel. And from here, we're going to let the shoulders relax. And as we inhale, we're going to let the arms float up to the sides, relaxing through the elbow. The forearms are going to come towards each other. And this is forming our mountain. So our fingertips will point to each other without touching. And as we breathe out, those palms are going to push down towards the ground. So shoulders relax to the ground, breathing in. Releasing at the elbow to form our mountain, breathing out. The palms push back down towards the ground. And we'll do that a few more times, breathing in. Now you may find that I'm moving too fast or too slow for you. So set to your own rhythm of breathing, breathing in as the arms float up, breathing out as the palms push back towards the ground. If you find that you have tightness in your shoulders or your upper back, I'm going to demonstrate perhaps a range that'd be more comfortable for you. Shoulders relax. Don't push through the shoulders. Don't push through the upper back. Just feel through what is comfortable for the arms. Can they manage to move through something smaller? Is that more comfortable for you? And we'll do that 3 more times. I'm going to come back to my full range, breathing in, forming the mountain, breathing out. Inhale, arms just float through, and exhale. And once more, breathing in and breathing out. For those of you that are standing, if you would like to remain so, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to be coming back to a seated position. So I invite those of you who would like to return to your chair to do so, if you like. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our fingertips and we're going to tap all around the lower part of our face, from the cheekbones down, around the jaw, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, tap above that upper lip, around the nose, the jaw. Breathing out from the mouth. And we can move our face around as we tap. Me and the staff are the only ones watching, so don't worry. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. We're going to take those fingertips and tap the ridge all around the orbits of the eyes. So around the eyebrows, just follow that bony ridge around the eyes, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to tap up the center of the forehead and then down the outsides, back to the tips of the eyebrows. And again, up the center of the forehead, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're going to take that tapping up the top in the center of the head and all the way back down the back, all the way to the top of the neck. And again, we're going to come to the top of the head, a little bit more to the sides now, all across the top, down the back, to the top of the neck. And the fingertips return back to that hairline, a little bit more to the sides now. And as you tap, imagine that every cell in your brain is enjoying a little massage from the vibration of the tapping. If you find that it's tricky to use both hands and one side is a little bit tighter, then yes, just wherever you can manage, just do a little bit of tapping there and let the other side tap all the way around, whatever is comfortable for you, right? And if you can't manage to raise through the shoulders to join us in the tapping, then just watch, breathe and watch. Imagine that you're doing this with us. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And tapping around the ears, right to the back. Okay. Then we're going to bring our hands together. And we'll give them a nice rub. And we're going to bring in a Qigong that comes from a set of movements and breath called Wisdom Qigong. And we're going to let our hands hover just in front of the face without touching. Nice, easy breaths. And imagine that with each breath, you're drawing energy in through the face, into the head from the hands, and then breathing out, nice and relaxed. We'll do that again, breathing in, breathing out. And here, as we inhale, we're going to let those arms float above the head, breathing in, floating down the back of the head without touching. And then as we exhale, we're going to let that breath move neck, shoulders, and then we're going to let the arms, let me give you a bit more of my arms. We're going to let those arms flick that energy out as you exhale. So coming back to the face, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Now, if you have a hard time letting your hands sweep across your head, if you just want to make the gesture wherever it's comfortable for you, imagine that those hands are circling the head and flick it out. Keep it nice and small here. Imagine breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Just keep watching us and imagine you're sweeping the head. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We'll do that 3 more times. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. And once more. Inhale, exhale. Just letting the body settle in. We're going to bring our hands together. Give them a good rub, bring in that energy. And then we're going to massage the face in circular motion upwards, starting lower in the face, breathing in and breathing out. All the way up the forehead, circular motions upwards and then back down. Nice, easy breaths, massage around the jaw, all around the jawline, through the nose bridge, forehead, breathing in, always moving the breath, and breathing out. Then we're going to take those fingertips and massage all along the scalp. Nice, easy breaths in and out. Top of the head, all the way down the back. Remembering to breathe in and breathe out as you massage. And we're going to go to the sides of the head now, around the temple area, all around the ears. Inhale and exhale. And again, the sides of the head, breathing in and breathing out. And then we're going to take our fingers and our thumbs and massage all through the ears. This is one of my students, my longtime students' favorite part. She just goes, ah, every time we come to the ears. Breathing in, breathing out. So the reason the ears, the scalp, we feel so much through there. The scalp and the ears are actually energy microsystems that map out the entire body. So the ears themselves have 161 acupuncture points that you can treat the whole body through. The scalp, the palms of your hands, the bottoms of your feet. That's why hand and foot reflexology is so effective. Breathing in, get into all those little nooks and crannies, breathing out. And relaxing through the arms, the shoulders. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the thumbs resting on the sides of the face at the tips of the eyebrows or at the temple area. And I'd like you to massage through the forehead or that eyebrow ridge specifically for that spot that you noted at the beginning of the session. Okay, so we're going to massage through here in a different manner. And so I'm going to give you a couple of breaths to locate that spot again for you. Just feeling through as you rub. Remember this next part, we're going to focus on that part. So keep massaging in that direction. And so once you have your spot, I'd like you to remain at it. And I'd like you to put a little bit of pressure as if you're doing a little deep massage to that spot. And as you apply pressure, you're going to draw a nice breath in. And then you're going to exhale. And as the breath leaves the body, you're going to lighten up that pressure on that spot just by a little bit, which is going to be the seed for the next breath. So holding that spot, breathing in. And as you exhale, again, lightening the pressure on that spot as the breath leaves the body. And again, breathing in. And we're going to just lighten up the contact right at that spot. And breathing in with this inhale, again, pressure on that spot. And as you exhale, lightening that pressure just by a little bit. And inhale. And lightening the pressure again at the fingers. And once more, breathing in. And as you exhale, allow the pressure to completely release. Now, as you massage through for that spot, I'd like you to note if you feel a difference from the beginning of the session. So if you're able to remember what you gave on a scale of 1 to 10 as a score for the intensity or the sensitivity that you felt, and what would you rate it now on a scale of 1 to 10 after the breaths and the movements right at that spot that you chose at the beginning? Do you feel a difference? And what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 now? Okay. So again, I'm just going to look for a show of hands. If anyone could let me know if they felt a difference. Okay. Great. Yeah. Now, for some of you that may not have, if the spot had quite a high score of sensitivity, I know that the recording of this workshop is going to be available for you to use, and you can use that same process just a few minutes each day for a week, 5 or so minutes every day, the process we just moved through, and then see what you might note after a week or so. Okay. So what we're going to go into now is how we found an area of stuck energy in a very small area of our body. So let's talk about energy in the body. And what I always mention in all my classes, all my programs, that while we exist in this human life at this time of our existence, we actually exist in 5 bodies, not just our physical body. We have our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, our energy body, and our spiritual body. Now, each of those bodies, aside from the energy body, each of those bodies have an energy aspect to them. So our mental and emotional bodies have an energy aspect to them. Our spiritual body has an energy aspect to it. And then our physical body has an energy aspect to it. So by paying attention to the health of our energy body and the energy aspects of all the other bodies, we can greatly influence our overall well-being just by paying some attention to moving stuck energy through our body. So what we did in the beginning of the workshop is we actually located an area of stuck energy just here in the forehead. And if you imagine that, so backing up a little bit, the energy that we carry in our bodies and those energy aspects actually have pathways that run all through our body. They're referred to meridians or channels, and they run through our entire body from head to toe. And even though energy is formless, these energy pathways actually do exist in the physical body. For thousands of years, different practices have been able to trace these energy pathways and locate different energy centers all throughout the body. And they do exist in physical form, even though energy as we know it, whether it be emotions, moods, different emotions that we experience through our day, even though they're formless, they exist in pockets in our physical body. And so what we did locating this area of stuck energy was we've actually located in those energy pathways an area that's been stuck, where energy is not flowing as freely. Because the tenderness, the sensitivity, you may have also noticed when you massaged your ears or when we massaged your scalp, you also felt different areas of sensitivity there. And those are indications of energy blocks, where in those energy pathways in the body, the energy is not flowing as well. And so what we can do with breath, with movement, also with sound, which we didn't bring in today, we can open up those energy blocks so that those pathways can open up to more flow, bringing different energies in our bodies into better balance and better harmony. Now, those emotions that we feel are energy. So when we feel fear, when we feel down in our mood, when we feel anxious, when we feel angry or frustrated, there's an energy to that emotion. And if that emotion is not left to processing or resolving, then it creates stuck energy in our body. And so whenever we feel, for example, if I feel through my scalp, I usually find one at the back here. And so that indicates to me an area where I have a little bit of stuck energy. What comes into this practice with the Tai Chi and Qigong principles is we have moves and breaths specifically for these different energy channels and meridians. And each of those energy channels and meridians are tied to an internal organ in the body, which is tied to a group of emotions or a single emotion. And that in turn is tied to an element in nature. So, for example, the lungs are the energy of sadness, sorrow, grief, depression, despair, loneliness. And the element that is tied to the lungs is that of metal. Another example is liver. Liver energy has to do with anger, frustration, resentment, irritation, annoyance, jealousy, envy are in there with the liver. And the liver has to do with the element of wood. And so because these different energies are tied together through an element, the emotions, and the organ, then when we know what energy we want to move through, we can move through specific movements and specific breaths to then nurture that flow through the body. Okay? So when we pay attention to a little bit of energy work through movement, through breath, through sound, to open up the energy in the body to bring in more flow, then we help that flow establish better balance and better harmony in the body. And that has to do with our mood. It can show up as different aches and pains in the body. Enough stuck energy in different meridians will start inhibiting or expressing and manifesting shoulder pain, back pain, pain at any of your joints. And so if we move a little bit of energy, that can help that part of your body heal, because we're taking care of the energy aspect of our existence, the energy aspect of our overall well-being. And that will greatly support anything else that you do for your health. Because if the energy body is stuck, if the energy is stuck in the meridians, then there isn't flow for other things to also take effect. So if you're in other therapies, taking certain medications, you're in different kinds of treatments, if the energy body is clearer and the stuck energy is encouraged to lift, that can also help everything else that you're doing for your health have more efficacy. It can exponentially increase the benefits that you will receive from everything else that you do, because the energy is not stuck. Okay. So I've had loads of people that have come through my programs who were going, for example, to therapy for years. And then when we moved the energy a little bit and things were opening to flow and they weren't so stuck, they finally got these great breakthroughs from their sessions, which is a sign that there was energy that was blocking any type of advancement that they were hoping for in their sessions. Okay. And that can go for physical pains and aches. That can go for long-term moods, long-term conditions, syndromes, and that kind of thing. All right. Because if you imagine that we found stuck energy just in this area of the forehead, imagine throughout your entire body where there are pockets of stuck energy. Right? Those meridians run all through our body, head to toe. So if we were able to influence moving some stuck energy in this small area in the body, imagine what you can do for the rest of you. Right? Okay. So we have time for question and answers. So I'm going to be turning the session back to Deanna in a second. Before I do, which I'm sure Deanna mentioned, I am doing a set of classes for the Brain Wellness Program. They do start in the middle of October. So I know the staff has worked hard in making that all accessible to you. So I know registration is open to you if you're interested in joining us for those classes. And in the meantime, I like to leave everyone with a resource if you're wanting some very simple and easy tips to bring into your day. I have a whole set of videos on YouTube that are only 2 or 3 minutes long. And Lily has kindly put the link into the chat if you want to access that. And she also shared that she'll put that along with the replay, where you can access the replay. That'll be listed for you. And you're more than welcome to go there. The videos that you'll be looking for are called Your Chi, QI, Your Chi Health Minute. And that link will take you straight to my channel there. There's other videos if you're interested in watching, but the ones with the health tips that are only 2 or 3 minutes long are called Your Chi Health Minute. All right. So you're welcome to make use of those if you're wanting to delve in a little bit, bring some Qigong into your day, a little bit of breath, a little bit of movement before we have a chance to meet and come together again in October. And that's it. Deanna?
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sandra. That was so insightful. I really resonate with these practices of Tai Chi and Qigong. And of course, let's make some time for questions. If any of you have questions, please feel free to put it in the chat and I'll be able to ask Sandra. But I do have a couple questions here. Actually, one of my own that I'll start with.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you know, that we were looking at just one part, a small part of our body and energy being here. What are your thoughts on like body oil, like how people do oil like and body massage on themselves? What are your thoughts on that, and do you have any recommendations?
Yes. So certainly any thing that you're going to add to massages that you do for yourself that have any type of aromatherapy tied in with that are really, really effective, really good for you. What I do encourage, though, is if you have spots that are extremely sensitive and tender, that you're not going for that deep shiatsu style massage where you're digging in really deep, because the more pain and irritation that your body feels, the more tension we actually bring in, right? If you can imagine having a really deep massage or something, and the masseuse is really laying into those areas, the rest of your body tenses up. And so what's actually happening then is we're bringing more tension into the body, and energy, your chi, your life force energy will not flow through tension. And so that's why I mentioned at the beginning of the session, moving through only what's comfortable for your body, because the more comfortable the body is, the more the body relaxes, the more the body relaxes, the more your chi, your life force energy flows, because energy will not flow through tension. So if you are massaging, I suggest being very light if your spots are really tender or sensitive, or doing gentle rubbing and light tapping. Still using the oils and the aromatherapy if you like, but move the deep massage that brings the pain and irritation to light tapping and rubbing. Just let that energy flow, move it through.
Amazing. Thank you. Beautiful. I did take note of that. Awesome. Okay, so we have some more questions coming here. Someone has shared that most of the times I feel my chest is off, but nothing comes up in scanning or x-rays. What can be done to be in equilibrium?
Chest is off. If that person could explain a little bit, is it tightness or a heaviness or an inability to expand? Just a little bit more there to help me out with.
There's tightness in that area.
Tightness in the area. Yeah. So what you could do, and actually, it's one of the Chi Health Minute videos. It's called Tapping for Sorrow and Grief, I believe. It's light tapping in the chest area. So starting in the upper chest, just tapping back and forth, nice and light. You know, you can use your fingertips if you like, and breathing in and breathing out. If you have some prolonged sensation there of that tightness, then that's an indication that there's quite a bit of energy stuck there. And so I would start just really light tapping. You can do a little bit of rubbing from the chest bone out towards the shoulder on both sides, nice and easy, always moving the breath. When you're tapping, lightly rubbing in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Because our chi, our life force energy, is attached to the breath. And so when we exhale, the body is actually clearing stuck, stagnant chi, stuck, stagnant energy that it's ready to let go of. And then we breathe in fresh and new to replace that cycle, right? To bring in that cycle of fresh chi, healthy chi for the body. And so always tapping when we're moving, when you're gently rubbing in through the nose, out through the mouth. The breath is key to moving your energy.
Great, thank you. And is it important to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, or can you just breathe whatever way that works?
If you are having challenges breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, then obviously we would like you to move the breath in any manner that is most comfortable for you. However, I would encourage starting to practice in through the nose. And when we're clearing, we always exhale from the mouth. But if you join us for the classes starting in October, we're going to do different types of breathing, because if your breathing is relaxed and you're able to breathe in and out of the nose, then we're doing resourcing of the energy and nourishing nourishing, nurturing, and resourcing. But when we exhale through the mouth, then that's clearing, that's letting stuck stagnant stuff that's ready to leave the body a way out. Because if we don't allow that stuck stagnant energy to leave the body somehow, it just finds another pocket to settle somewhere and create a bit of stuck energy another place in the body. So we want whatever we loosen up with our bouncing and shaking, our moving, our breathing, whatever we loosen up of stuck energy in the body, we want to have it have a way to leave. It's ready to leave. If it gets stirred up, which means that the body needs to give it a way to do so. Another thought I lost. What was that, Deanna, again? Could you read that? Because another thought came and I lost it.
Is it important to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, or whatever breath works?
Thank you. Yeah. And so the other thing that happens breathing in through the nose is for not just energy purposes, but also physiological, because when we breathe in through the nose, we have little hairs called cilia that filter. This is the respiratory therapy coming out on me now. So we have cilia, all little hairs, all that line all the nasal passages, and they act as filters. So when you skip that stage of bringing the breath in through the nose and you breathe in through the mouth, we don't have that same filtration system in the mouth. We have it through the nasal passages through here. The other thing that happens when we breathe through the nose is your air is warmed and it's humidified for the body. That happens when we breathe through the nose. When we breathe through the mouth, we don't get filtering, we don't get hydration, and we don't get warming. And so you actually then need to use more of your body energy to do those things that actually this part of your system is naturally designed to do. So breathing in and out of your mouth actually causes you to be more inefficient with your energy because you're asking your body to do more than it needs to if you were to breathe in through your nose.
Amazing. Thank you. Next question. Any activity to help with vertigo?
Yes. What you can do with vertigo is find those sensitive spots and do what we did with this workshop. But you're going to look for sensitive spots, forehead, temple area, and then the side of the head, like where the temple area continues on through here. Because what tends to happen in vertigo when we have that discomfort, these muscles will tighten up more. And so feel through the forehead for those spots. I would do one spot at a time. Don't try to do too many at once. And just focus on one spot at a time. And when you feel that lightens after 2-3 days, then move on and look for another one in this general area that I've described. Now, it won't, I mean, we can do lots of Qigong to move through vertigo, but you know, that's a very specific case that we'd be addressing. Because so what you did with the workshop today is not going to necessarily move you through the vertigo, but it's going to help you feel a little more relief because the muscles that are involved that would have contributed to bringing in some of that tension are going to relax a little bit more. So that'll hopefully help.
Okay, great. Next question is, when feeling sensitive locations, is symmetry on both sides of body relevant?
No. So you may in some cases feel it on both sides because we have two sets of meridians. In the very basic energy system, we have 12 on one side and 12 on the other. So we have a liver meridian on the right and one on the left. We have a lung meridian on the right and another one on the left. And so sometimes, and I don't want to say commonly because it is also just as much the other way, sometimes you will feel symmetry. So you'll feel it on both sides. However, if there is stuck energy on one side, you may not necessarily feel it in the other. However, if you're going to move through something like what we did with the workshop, I'd still keep the energy movement and the breath and the massaging and and all the movements symmetrical if you can. I understand some people can't move one side, but just manage to move through whatever you can manage, or just watch and imagine you're moving with us. So if you feel, so for example, if I felt something on my right at the forehead and not on the left, I would still encourage the energy on both sides, because those meridians are on the right and the left sides of the body. The other thing that can happen is sometimes the stuck energy might be on one side, but actually reflects on the other. So sometimes the stuck energy can be on the right, but we feel the aggravation or the pain or the symptom on the other side. So it can be any of those cases, both sides. It can be feeling it on the side where the stuck energy is, or it can be reflected or mirrored. When there's energy stuck on one side, we might feel it on the other, which is actually happening to me right now. I have some stuck energy in the left side of my neck, and I'm feeling it in my right foot. So I've been needing to move this energy to relieve what I'm feeling in my right foot.
Wow.
If that helps.
Another question here. Would it be more effective if we massage tense spots from outside in?
10 spots, was that, Deanna?
Tense.
Tense spots from outside in. Was that like outside inward in direction, or outside superficial going inward deeper?
Maybe I'm not sure from looking at this question, but maybe running over how to deal with tense spots.
Okay. So certainly, as you move through and you feel those spots, you might do your head, you could do your forearm, feel for different spots, you can do the palm of your hand. The ones that your body is ready to move through or is asking you to bring attention to, you're going to feel the most sensitivity. So you may not need to go as inside or as deep, if you will, wherever you can feel. So for example, if you felt something on the scalp of your head and you came to a spot and you could feel the tenderness, and it really made itself known to you first off, then that's probably an area to a good area to start with, is where you feel it the most. That's where your body is actually speaking to you and asking for some attention.
Amazing. Amazing. And I see here some questions about the classes that Sandra will be leading with the BC Brain Wellness Program. Lily has left some links in the chat for just letting everyone know. There is a wait list in which you can sign up for. It will be starting mid-October until December 13th. At least that's when the end of the term is. So just check out in the chat for those links. That would be great. And then another question here. Can you talk about Qigong and effect of CPAP mask, how to release tightness in head?
Tightness in the head with CPAP mask. Okay, so one thing that is going to help with CPAP is that practice of breathing in through the nose. And actually, for the most effectiveness for a CPAP mask, we actually want to practice breathing in and out of the nose while the mask is in place, because the mouth open changes the pressure system. And so what happens with your CPAP mask is, if you're breaking the seal of the system by opening your mouth, then you're not getting the effect of the CPAP machine for your sleep. So if you can practice, I don't know if some of you may have read a book by James Nestor. I think it's just called Breathe. And he talks about CPAP machines and respiratory distress in sleep and sleep apnea. And he suggests that to practice breathing through your nose through the day, taping the mouth. And so I know that that might cause a lot of discomfort and anxiety for people who are used to being mouth breathers. So try, 5 breaths a day, or just hold your hand. And so then you feel you can let go whenever you need to. But try 2 or 3 breaths in and out of the nose and just slowly practice building that up. Because for the CPAP machine to be the most effective, it needs to be nose breathing at night. So that's something that can be trained into your body, but it will take a lot of practice. Like if you imagine how much athletes train to practice something, it would require the same attention. But it's done. It's done. But just know that it's not something that you can flick of a switch and that it'll be. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of repetition to develop nose breathing if you're used to being a mouth breather. So that's all it would take. Patience. Practice, repetition, and patience. Start with a couple breaths a day. See if you can get it to 3 or 4. See if you can get it to 5. Just take your time.
Amazing. Thank you. And I do want to wrap up here since it is 1:02. One is the official end to the session, everyone. So thank you so much, Sandra, for sharing your expertise with us. And of course, all of you for joining us as well. I hope you were able to learn something new today. We have another Wellness Wednesday coming up on October 9th, so keep an eye out. Please register on the events page as you would normally, and we hope to see you there. If there are any lingering questions, Sandra will be staying on a bit over time to wrap up, but that is the official end of the event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Okay, thank you.